They passed mile marker 78 at midnight. They didn't know it then, but that's when the road stopped being just a road. This story is from a family driving back from a reunion along a remote highway. What should have been a quiet trip home becomes something no one can escape. Jim Evans was a proud father, driving the family van with his wife Laura in the front seat, and their two teenage children, Mia and Derek, in the back. It was late September, leaves dusty orange in the fading daylight. The reunion in the hills had ended at dusk, and now the highway stretched out ahead, quiet and empty. At first, everything seemed normal. The radio played old country songs. Mia and Derek dozed against the windows, and Laura pointed out constellations as the sky darkened. Jim glanced at the fuel gauge. He had enough gas. He always made sure. Somewhere past mile marker 70, the forest seemed to close in on the road. Tall trees loomed, branches overhanging. The asphalt glinted damp. They'd passed recent rain. Headlights from few cars were distant. The road signs flickered under Jim's high beams. At mile marker 78, Laura noticed the first oddity. A car pulled off to the side, engine running, headlights on, no one inside. She nudged Jim. "Do you see that car?" she asked. "It's empty." Jim slowed down. The car was a silver sedan, driver's door ajar. The lights inside blinked. They passed it and Jim glanced in the mirror. No one got in. He thought maybe someone had stepped out for help. But there were no footprints, no movement. They drove on. A few miles later, Derek swore he saw a figure in white by the roadside, motionless, partly hidden among the trees. "Mom, did you see that?" he asked, voice quiet. "Probably just a sign. A jacket on a fence post," Laura said, trying to reassure him. Jim kept his eyes on the road. Night fully set in. The asphalt shimmered under the van's headlights. Everything outside was shadow and whisper of wind through leaves. The radio station faded into static, then switched to silence. Jim cursed under his breath and tried another channel. Nothing. Then their van's headlights dimmed abruptly, as if the bulbs lost power for a moment. The dashboard flickered. Jim's heart pounded. He eased off the accelerator, pulled the van to the side at the next turnout, hoping the lights would recover. Laura grabbed her phone. No signal. Derek snapped on his flashlight. Mia kept quiet, face pressed to the window, watching tree trunks slip past. They sat for several long minutes. The engine idled. Wind whistled. Then, in the beam of Derek's flashlight, they saw something move between the trees. A shape, pale, tall. It glided rather than walked. Its limbs too long, body unnaturally still except for one arm waving. Jim grabbed the door handle, locked it, and rolled up windows. "Everyone quiet," he whispered. Laura leaned forward, straining to see. "Who is that?" The figure moved closer, stepping onto the road. The van's lights caught it. White clothing soaked, trailing mud. It stood in the center of the road, staring. Jim rolled forward slowly, hoping to pass, but the figure raised a hand. In the beam of the headlights, its face was featureless, blurred, as though someone smeared paint. Derek's flashlight flickered and died. The pale shape let out a scream. No human scream, a sound like glass being crushed. Tires squealed. Jim stomped the gas. The shape vanished into the forest. Dark trees swallowed its outline. The reflection of headlights lingered for a heartbeat, then nothing. Breaths inside the van were loud. "Did you see it?" Mia asked, voice shaking. Laura nodded. Jim didn't answer. He focused on driving. They reached a stretch of the road where the tree canopy overhead formed a tunnel. Moonlight leaked through in thin slices. The van's headlights glinted off roadside reflectors. In that section, the road markings seemed to shift. Something looked off. At mile marker 82, the signpost was crooked. Jim slowed again. The engine sputtered. The van slowed, then stalled. Everything went dark. No engine hum, no lights, only the soft drip of rain from the roof. Laura fumbled for the lights. Nothing. "Mia, can you get your phone's flashlight?" Laura whispered. Derek tried, but only dim glow. No power. No radio. They were miles from the last rest stop. Jim stepped out, rain slapping his jacket. flashlight in hand. The flashlight beam trembled. The car's rear lights glowed faint red brake even though they weren't on. He tested the door. Strange. The latch felt warped, resisting opening. From the tree line, reflective eyes glinted. Dozens. Jim's breath caught. He stumbled back into the van. "We're not alone," he whispered. Figures emerged from the trees. Thin, pale, some crawling, some walking stiff. Mia screamed. Derek pulled her close. They swarmed the road circling the van. The windshield fogged with their breath, though no warmth should exist in them. Laura clutched Jim's arm. "Drive." He turned the key. Nothing. The figures pressed hands to the glass, smearing long marks. Their faces blurred, melting as though unfinished. One slammed the hood. Another climbed the roof. The van shook violently. Jim kept twisting the key. On the fifth attempt, the engine roared alive. Tires spun, mud sprayed. The van lurched forward, scattering them. They screeched in unison, metallic cries. Jim floored it. They sped down the road, figures chasing, feet never touching ground, gliding fast. Laura screamed directions, though none existed. At mile marker 90, the road seemed endless. "We've been here already," Derek shouted. Jim realized the truth. They were looping. No matter how fast they drove, the mile markers repeated. 78, 82, 90, again and again. The van rattled, lights dimming again. The figures returned, appearing ahead in the road now, surrounded. Jim swerved. The van skidded. Tires screamed. They crashed into the ditch, airbags bursting. And as silence fell, the family realized the figures were waiting just beyond the shattered glass.